Games can be more than just entertainment. They can leave a lasting impact, shaping who we are and how we see the world. In this video, I'll share a few games that taught me important lessons and helped define different stages of my life. Whether it's about perseverance, teamwork, or even rethinking how I spend my time, these stories might just make you think about how your favorite games have shaped you too. Let's start with The Legend of Dragoon. This was the first big JRPG that I really ever beat, way back when I was a kid. This one was released in December of 1999, and this 4-disc epic came to life through a demo disc for me from PlayStation Magazine. Demo discs were my world back then. I'd save up my allowance to grab the latest issue of official PlayStation Magazine, not just for the magazine and the articles, but mainly for that little disc full of magic. Every month you would get 15 or so demos or videos or behind the scenes interviews packed onto this magical little CD-ROM. Previews, screenshots, everything that just helped fuel my imagination. It's kind of sad that the demo culture, it's not fully gone. They do exist, but they're kind of buried. And a lot of the big games, they don't even bother to build a demo out. It's hype from streamers and marketing campaigns and YouTube videos. And I do miss the days when you discovered a game through the pages of a magazine and play in 30, 40 minutes. Sometimes they'd stick a huge demo on it. With The Legend of Dragoon, it wasn't just about playing a game. It was about the journey. So there was no voice acting, aside from a few hilariously bad FMVs. Now, the FMVs themselves are cool, but the voice acting was rough. The rest, it was all reading. And that got me reading every day as a kid, which looking back definitely helped my vocabulary and focus more than I realized at the time. And then there were the turn-based combat system mechanics, a challenge that taught me patience, a lot of problem solving, perseverance, and the fact that every action had a consequence, a reaction to it. The boss fights were tough, especially for a kid experiencing a JRPG for the very first time. If you've been gaming for many years, you don't really realize it unless you've played games with someone who's totally new to the medium. There are so many little intrinsic skills that we just pick up over time that we take for granted. And you forgot about the journey that got you to the point where you're at today. Those formative experiences are important. When I finally rolled credits, after what felt like years, I don't actually remember. It might have been years. It was straight up euphoric. The final boss fight was this epic, drawn-out battle, and beating it was like conquering a mountain, especially as a kid. I wish I could find that old save file, that old PS1 memory card. I think I logged about 80 hours on the game. It's probably closer to 60 when I look at howlongtobeat.com. I wasn't efficient. I was a kid. I got stuck. I wandered aimlessly and I learned as I went. And back then, getting stuck wasn't as simple as just Googling. You either had like a print strategy guide that you picked up at the store, or you went to one of the community-made walkthroughs from the forums in plain text, no pictures, and printed it out. I remember going to my dad's office as a kid to print some of these guides out, and they were treasure maps. Again, more reading opportunities to refine your skills. It was also about sharing the experience, and it was different. You didn't tweet or make a video after you finished the game. It was the schoolyard. It was recess. You'd talk about games with your friends. And honestly, none of my friends in like elementary and middle school and pretty much until I got to high school were into JRPGs. This was like a little sector that was just for me, and it was really cool. It taught me how to set goals, how to work through challenges, and I do think those skills have carried into adult life all these years later. So let's jump ahead to the high school and college years. I can't make this video without talking about Halo. My viewers already know my history with it. I don't need to rehash the whole saga, but it started with CE, and then Halo 2 and Halo 3 playing split screen, multiplayer, online with my friend. Hours and hours and hours on end. It was insane. Getting to play 3 Reach and Halo 4 during the college years online. It It gave me so much: friends and connections, unforgettable experiences, getting to go to 343 Industries in 2019 during the development of Halo Infinite. That was absolutely surreal. Halo taught me more than just the game. It was a crash course of refining a good competitive mindset, playing with people who were far better, not just in terms of their skills, but their mental game. If you've ever been on like a squad with good comms and who have a good attitude, you realize real quick how important it is to keep your emotions in check under pressure. The ability to bounce back after a tough loss, to not give up. Learning these skills, it didn't just make me a better player. It was the first time the lights were starting to click that the skills you're building in a competitive title can help you in real life situations. It can help you be more calm under pressure. And then there's the teamwork. Halo multiplayer required constant coordination with your teammates, whether it was setting up strategies, calling out positions, adapting on the fly. These are all things, again, in life, your career, whatever, can teach you how to work with different personality types to communicate effectively. Those are things all competitive games can extend beyond just the game itself. Handling tilt, another huge lesson. I still struggle with this, staying composed and avoiding frustration, especially when things weren't going my way. That's a mental discipline honed through years of playing Halo. And I don't have it mastered, but it does spill into everything else that you do. Maybe staying calm during a high-stakes project at work, navigating difficult conversations with others. And beyond the gameplay, Halo gave me a community. It connected me with people from all over the world, many of whom I'm still friends with to this day. And even though I haven't played too much of Infinite's multiplayer this last year, Halo remains close to my heart. Taking a break has been refreshing, and when I do return, it always feels like home. Sure, I wish the franchise were in a better spot. A larger player base, more consistent, like meaningful updates. But I've come to realize that caring too much about those things is exhausting. Through this channel, with Halo being such a big focus for so long, I've learned not everything in life is perfect. Things do not always age well. And the hopes or the desires you have for something you love are not always met. It's so easy, especially in today's cynical internet culture, to get consumed with anger about those imperfections, to fall into echo chambers where frustration festers and amplifies. And sure, sometimes those shortcomings are true. We've seen multiplayer games in particular go through an era where the pursuit of profit has undeniably compromised gameplay. But the question I've had to ask myself is, do I want to live in that headspace? What do I want to get out of gaming? Do I want joy and growth, happiness? Or do I want to just be stuck in just endless misery? I've learned two big things. First, being stuck in a negativity loop sucks, especially when it's tied to something you love. That negativity doesn't stay contained. It bleeds into how you view the world. You either have to step away or choose to put on a better mindset. Second, while constructive criticism is very valuable and wanting things to improve is important, it's not worth letting those things crush you emotionally. Why did you start gaming in the first place? Not to be miserable about things out of your control. For me, Halo is more than its current state, the numbers, all that stuff. It's a series I will always love deeply, a part of my life that shaped me in many ways, and I don't think that love will ever fade. Finally, let's talk about Fallout 4. This one's more recent, but it hit hard. I played this last April. Now, for years, I've been caught in a cycle of grinding multiplayer games, mostly FPS titles. This is from like 2016 onward. But over the last few years, those games haven't been as fun for me anymore. Between engagement-optimized matchmaking, over-the-top monetization, the whole live service grind and ecosystem, those multiplayer FPS games I love lost their heart. I kept playing them out of habit, but they weren't bringing me joy, at least not all the time. When I first tried Fallout 4 near its launch, I didn't even really like the game. My PC was pretty garbage at the time. I didn't have any prior Fallout experience, so I just put the game down. But years later, after watching the Amazon Prime Fallout show, I was inspired to give it another shot. This time with a bunch of mods installed, and wow, I got sucked in. Jamming through the wasteland with old 50s music blaring was a vibe I never knew I needed, but hit at the perfect time. I was dealing with a ton of stress from big life events when I was playing it, and hopping into the Commonwealth each night became this really sweet escape. The story is weak in Fallout 4. The RPG elements aren't that great compared to 3 or New Vegas, but the gameplay itself was a ton of fun for me. And I didn't really care about the game's shortcomings or what the broader consensus was. I was having fun. That's all that mattered at the time. It reminded me, reviews and internet opinions aren't always helpful. Sometimes you just need to try something for yourself. You are unique, you are special, you are one of a kind, and your experience with the game might be entirely different from somebody else's. And we're living now in a time where rage bait and cynicism dominate the conversation. It's easy to follow the herd and let that negativity keep you from trying something new. But that mindset could also make you miss out on experiences that could change your life. For me, Fallout 4 was pivotal. It was a life-changing moment that reintroduced me to the idea of being intentional with how I spend my time. Before Fallout 4, there were these years where I was just an FPS multiplayer robot, grinding games like PUBG and Apex, and while they were fine and I had fun with them, I never really loved them, not the way I loved the 360 era FPS games. Yet I kept playing because that's what everybody else was doing. That's what the friend group was doing. I tell myself, well, if I just keep playing, maybe I'll start enjoying it. Maybe I'm the problem. I just don't get it. I gotta try more. But it never really clicked. And before I knew it, I had wasted years on games that weren't really bringing me all that much joy. It's not to say multiplayer is bad, not at all. It just was a time where I realized I could have spent my own efforts, my own game time on experiences that built me up instead of draining me. And Fallout 4 was that wake-up call. And it changed how I approach gaming in life, that intentionality we talk about. It's pretty wild looking back. There's so many games that have impacts on us, probably movies and sports and activities and hobbies, that you can look back and see lessons that help shape you into who you are today. Now I want to hear from you. What games have shaped you? What lessons have they taught? Drop a comment down below and let's share our stories. If you enjoy, maybe we'll do more videos like this in the future. There's plenty of other games and cool stories to share. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.